Welcome to another episode of Josh and Kelly. In our last episode, we talked about coming back to Delaware. We're here. We're coming back. We got a couple of weddings to go to, but we also said that there was another important thing. And that other important thing is we sold the van. So the van is with its new owners. Anissa, if you're watching, hope you're enjoying as much as we did. And the other thing we've done while we're here is we have bought a new truck. And Kelly can show you that there, just over her shoulder.
Sorry, I'm kind of just, Sophie's going over there, so I have to keep an eye on her.
She's just out there and having fun in the sun. So we wanted to, let you know that we bought a new truck. We've ordered the space cap, which, gosh, probably 8, 9, 10 videos ago we talked about. We went up there and had a look at it and all that. So we've ordered one. It's being manufactured for us now. And so we're not going to get it too much into talking about those things at the moment, because there'll be videos about that and the build out we do and all that at a much later stage. I guess the most important thing for us is that we have transitioned. We've talked about the reasons before, but we'll probably go into a few reasons now of why we've transitioned to a different vehicle. But we really want to talk more about the van and I guess give a recap on our year of life in the van, because we were full time for a year in that.
I can't believe it's been a year. It went so fast. And when we first started talking about selling it, I would just get emotional thinking about it. And I was a little bit emotional.
She was emotional when we sold it too.
Yeah, a little bit. But we've been processing and talking about the truck and the advantages of off-road. And so and now that we've been without the van for a couple weeks, I keep saying van instead of truck. I have to transition, get used to saying that. But it's good. I think, the person that bought it, they took care of it and excited to have it. And, it just propels us on a new trajectory that we want to be on, with off-grid and smaller space we'll get used to over time. But you just really think to the van, like, I'm surprised how much stuff we actually could put in there after
cleaning it out.
Sold the house, moved to an apartment, then got out of the apartment, and it's just like the stuff we put in storage. It's amazing. And now we're transitioning again to like even more simpler life and even more less things. We're continuing to downsize.
But that's the thing. There was so much in the van that we had there for the what ifs. That we're not even close to using, and the what ifs never came. And if they did, we were looking at other ways of getting around it without using that particular item or thing. So I think there's a lot we can do to kind of downsize into the truck and the significantly less storage that it does have. I
mean, using one burner to cook has been fine. Just the extra space that we've had. And it was a beautiful, van, and I loved it. And
it was home.
It was
definitely home. And there are certainly things about that we're going to miss, because it was home. It was something that we lived in. It was something that we enjoyed. It was something we very specifically built for that purpose. And the truck we're going to build for that purpose too is just going to be a little different. We're shifting, I guess, more from van life to overlanding kind of mindset and ways of doing some things. But with that said, we're not going to be strict overlanders. Most overlanders are, in a 4-wheel drive, kind of like what we've got, but often smaller, with a pop-up tent on top. We've opted not to go that direction. We wanted solid sides around us all the time. Not just for weather, but for other reasons too. And so we've decided to go that route, which is very different from most overlanders. But that's fine. We don't have to be like them. We can do our own thing and do what's right for us, and that's what we're going to do. But yeah, the van will be missed for a lot of reasons. But it's, I guess, it's one of those things that we will always look back on fondly for the time we had and for the build that it was, because it was an amazing build. Like, it was virtually maintenance free. Like, everything just worked.
So robust and sturdy. We didn't really have to tighten a screw or do anything. Like the effort and work Josh put into making things so strong and stable and robust in the beginning really paid off.
Yeah, it did pay off quite well. And the, some of the components wore out. Like, we had to change out a light. We had to change out the heater. Certain things like that with the components wore out. But our build was pretty solid. So we were quite happy with that. And because of that, we are probably incorporating some of those same ideas and ways of doing things into the truck build. Like our plumbing is going to be almost exactly the same because it was just bulletproof and robust. So we'll probably continue to do that. But other things are going to change. The electrical is going to be very different. And we'll go over that at a later time as to how that's going to be different. But, it'll be different. But there are some things we're already noticing about the truck that are very different from the van. And we kind of like, we like the van. The van had like 1,000 cup holders at the front. The truck doesn't have any in its current configuration unless you put the center seat down and has cup holders in the back of that. Otherwise, there's no cup holders. So just basic things like that. They were like, yeah.
We keep it up for Sophie. She's loving because she's like laying there and has her head on Josh's lap. Today was our first day in there, and she's like,
yeah, Sophie's first ride.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's been good. And again, it'll be adjustment, but that's fine. But
sorry, I keep getting distracted by it because there's a party going on right here.
Yeah, there's a party going on in the next pavilion, and we're just trying to keep her away from that.
No, she's coming back on her own.
Yeah, but
less headspace, but there were certain things in the van I was still always hitting my head. Things falling out of the cabinet. So there's just little tiny things that we won't have to lean down to get to the refrigerator in the truck. And I think the simplicity of the water system and the electrical will be nice for me. And especially being able to drive the truck. Like I did test drive it. I haven't driven the truck yet since we've gotten it, but I'm going to try to get really comfortable with that. So that's something I'll be able to do.
I think you will be a lot more comfortable with it.
A lot of people ask about like the toileting situation, and that was something.
It's almost always the first question.
And I use the Go-Go, and we have that, and
that was amazing for you. Really, really kind of a game changer, I think you would say.
And I'll continue to use that. And we always had a portable commode if we needed it, but I think we used it once or twice in the 5 years. And even living full time, we never used it because tell people it's like if you're on the road and traveling, there's usually a place to stop. Wendy's or
there's gas stations, there's restaurants, there's
coffee shops,
truck stops. Like there's 1,000 places, and they all have toilets. You can use them whenever you're in civilization. And
the Ys that we go to exercise and shower. When we're traveling long distances, we stop there and sleep there. And then we use that in the morning. So it's never been an issue. So we're not even going to have that this time. I mean, if there's an emergency situation, honestly, there's a paper plate and a bag if you needed it. And
we don't need to take up the space carrying that.
Yes.
It was compact and all that, but it took up space that is completely unnecessary for us in our way of doing things. I mean, there are lots of people out there that are gonna, want a toilet and full shower and all the rest of it, and that's fine. If that's what you want and that's what you feel like you need, you go for it. We've just learned from our own experience that there are certain things we need and don't need, and a toilet is just one of the things we don't need for sure. What about showering?
So we go to the gym a lot, but when we're out in the bush and in the forest, we shower outside, which is great.
Great.
We had the indoor shower. We tested it out once in 5 years.
Once in 5 years.
So like if it's super, super cold, like I always had the option to like wash my hair.
Like a bucket bath inside.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I think 2 times maybe in all this time we were somewhere where the conditions weren't right, or there wasn't the privacy, or it was late at night. Something happened where we just, we just like couldn't shower. And so considering you live that kind of lifestyle, we're very hygienic. We haven't had that issue. Sorry,
we shower every day.
Yeah.
And so if we go one day where we didn't shower is like very unusual for van life, because a lot of van life is like, it's been a week. That's not us. That is not us. We've always been very much, we're showering every day, and, we're very, very clean and tidy, and always have been. And we will continue to be the same way.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, because I mean, toileting and showering is questions we get all the time. But those are those things, I know we've talked about this in the past, but those things in van life, in overlanding, that become such non-issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a weekend, you're like, I don't even think about that anymore. Like, it's just nothing to worry about. But yet it seems to be such a real barrier for most people.
And even like hotels, like you walk in the lobby and use the restroom, people are busy and they don't really know.
Yeah, we've done that
I've
before.
used that. And same with, you know, there's the parking and shopping. You know, there's enough food and you just go in and you don't even need bags, take everything, put it in.
Yeah.
We have to, there's a lot more frequency you find in laundromats and getting the food, but we haven't starved or gone without. I mean, we've never run out of clothes where we couldn't find a laundromat. I mean, there's some places in Wyoming that were limited where we had to drive, you know, not do it at the frequency, but we never.
Yeah, because we normally hit the laundromat twice a week. We could easily get away with once, but we normally do twice just to keep it simple. And we often will do our grocery shopping while we're, you know, in the same town or whatever, doing the laundry, because there's a laundromat there. There's most likely going to be a grocery store as well. So we kind of just do both of those things twice a week. And, you know, we've always got everything we need, and it hasn't been that big of a deal. We've definitely have found that the kind of system that we had worked really well for us.
I remember one of the videos where we had just moved out of the apartment and we were at like a parking lot and I had stuff everywhere and I was trying to figure out what to put in storage and what to take with me. And it's just so crazy how much stuff fit in the van and how much I ended up really not using, because we are able to do laundry every week. And the fact that, you know, I work remotely, we're like pretty much live in athletic clothes and, you know, comfortable clothes. So I had so much stuff. So I'm really like since we've been home and waiting for the, you know, the build to start, going through stuff, reassessing, you know, I have a lot of grays and blacks. I wear, you know, everything's going to mix match and be soft, and I'm going to get rid of more things. And I felt like there were times where, surprisingly, I felt like I just brought too much stuff, because then you have to dig for things or use things. And so part of me is looking forward to it, crazy enough to say, like, just the simplicity, even a newer, higher level of simplicity with less things. Because when you have less, it takes out the thought and the choice. You just go with what you have. And we've improvised with pans and bowls, and you'd be surprised what you could do with that. Like all the things that I love, kitchen stuff, and so much is in storage, but I don't have the space or an oven. So yeah, so I think that's been interesting to learn that about myself and grow in that area, living in the van life over that last year.
How much would you say that you have to downsize from what you had in the van to what you think you're going to take in the truck? Would you say you're taking half of what you had, a quarter of what you had? How much downsizing do you think you have to do?
I'd say probably a little more than half, or a little less than half, because I know there's some things that, but I'm going to try to get it down. Maybe 50%. Yeah, I mean,
because you are going to have less storage space in the truck, because the van actually had a lot of storage space for Kelly. She had a lot of space to not only for clothes but other things, and makeup and toiletries and that kind of stuff.
I don't think I've used my hair dryer or my curling iron at all. I have a flat iron that I use sometimes. And the funny thing is, like out in the West, without the humidity, like even when my hair would dry, which mainly in my hair dry, I let it dry by itself. It wasn't like frizzy. So I think I'm not going to bring the dryer. And if we are doing something and I need it, you know, chances are we'll be at a Y, or that day I'll dry my hair. But most days I'm pulling it back or just letting it dry and combing it out. So things like that, I just, you know, you're like, oh, but you know, what if? And when we're on the road, I don't have really dress clothes. Like when we come back to town here for weddings and things like that, I have access to things in storage. So, you know, we don't really dress up. I think I have one dress I carry and one linen pants or something.
Yeah, I
but
carry one button, one button down colored shirt, and that's about it.
we wear the same things over and over, but it's fine. Like we're always moving around, and except for our people watching our videos, they might be like, "Whoa, are they gonna wear something different this week?" But most people are really not paying attention, and we're around different people all the time, so it's not like
yeah.
And that's something I let go of too, like that idea of so many options and changing things out, but it's really not a big deal.
People pleasing.
Yeah.
Because Kelly's a people pleaser. She likes making people happy, but that has a flip side to it, where she's very controlled by what she thinks other people think of her, and so it was always I had to have all this extra stuff, and people are going to think if I wear the same thing every time. I'm like, people won't care.
The guy with one pair of jeans and 3 shirts are the same color.
Consistency, simplicity. Because when it comes to the van going to the truck,
we're going to need simplicity.
But I have 0 downsizing to do.
Yes.
Because everything that I had in the van, I'm going to have in the truck.
So tell us, Josh, how much do you have to downsize?
Not at all. Well, I'm going to be downsizing tools and other things like that, but in terms of clothes and toiletries, none. Because I was already, I think, downsized. But, there'll be a lot less. Like, in the van, I carried every tool that I used to build it. And so in case something goes wrong, those what ifs.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer worried about those what ifs. Because one, I know how to build something robust so that it's not going to break down. And secondly, there's so much you can get and do on the road anywhere in the world to fix those things, that I'm no longer going to be prepared for the what ifs. I'm not going to carry all the spares that I did. I'm not going to carry all the tools that I did. I mean, we had everything, everything we used to build it, every tool, every bit of spare parts and accessories that we had, we carried with us. It was just unnecessary space, unnecessary weight. I'm taking a basic toolkit that I can fix, 99% of stuff with, and some basic emergency spares to fix things, like tapes and zip ties and, things like that. And maybe a few hard to get or hard to source things that are unique to have with us. But other than that, and that's going to be in one box only.
Yeah.
I had a big trunk that I had stuff in. We had a couple of big trunks, and and then other toolboxes besides, and we had a lot of stuff.
We're gonna have so much less weight, and even driving out west, the wind, and you've seen videos off road, and things that we couldn't do because, or bridges or drive-throughs. There's certain things like that are going to be easier and more simpler. Like,
I mean, the van was very tall, very long. Very high center of gravity, all those things, which is why we've changed vehicles, because it didn't allow us to get where we wanted to go. But the van the clearance was 10.5 feet in height. And I'm estimating that the truck with the camper on top, the maximum it's going to be is about 8 feet. So 2.5 feet shorter, which is going to be huge. That's a lot less surface area for wind to affect and those kinds of things. It also is going to allow us to get into a lot of places. We're not going to be as much of an issue with branches and hitting the tops and those kinds of things. So it's going to be for us. It's going to be an enabling thing. It's going to enable us to get to all those places that we've turned around from, all the places that we wanted to get to. Like, we know we can't get there. We're just not going to try it. Now, with this truck, the way we have things set up, basically, if it's a road, if it's a track, if it's anything that allows a vehicle on it, we're going to be able to get there.
We'll see how I am with all this off-road stuff, because before I was always nervous with the cliffs and all the roughness. So I'll see if I'm still panicking in the truck like I did in the van. So we'll see.
We'll ease her into things. But yeah, I do think we're going to be able to do a lot of those sort of things that we weren't able to do, that we wanted to do. And I think you'll become a lot more comfortable with it over time. So I guess just to sum up, there was so much about the van that was good in the freedom it gave us. I mean, for 5 years we've been traveling in that. The last year full time living in it, and 4 years of part-time prior to that, and the places we went and the things we did, like it was such an enabling and freedom-inducing thing for us. I guess that's why ultimately we have changed out of it, was because we want so much more of that. And this new build is going to be able to do that for us. But the van was amazing in that, and what it did for us, and where it enabled us to go, and how it enabled us to live. It was quite incredible.
I'm glad that we had the part-time travel experiences, but getting far away, like all the way 2,500 miles out somewhere on the West Coast, to be parked in the woods, the forest, getting up, changing your backyard every day, every couple of days, the hikes, the mountains, the views. It's just,
we saw a lot of things that we couldn't see here.
Yeah, to be able to do that. And, we've done so much traveling on the East Coast to stay close because, we were kind of weekday or a few day travelers. But the opportunity to work full time and then be able to do that, but still be traveling and experiencing the world is just, it's a blessing. It's a gift. And it's been really an amazing experience, and the ability to continue on with that and even go further afield. And even if shipping the truck to Europe will be easier than doing the van. And there's just so many opportunities and experiences that I think that we can look forward to with the new rigs that we're going to have. And it's exciting, and thankful for the van and all the work and the time that it's all the things that it provided for us, experiences.
Absolutely. It was amazing for us in a lot of different ways, and in ways that nobody will know unless you actually have experienced something like that. And it's something we could explain and talk about, but until you have experienced it yourself, the freedom that comes from knowing you've got a full tank of fuel, you've got a full tank of water, you have your groceries, the only things that you need, and you can go anywhere and do anything and be completely self-sufficient. There's a freedom, and a freedom that comes here with that that is hard to put into words, that people can appreciate unless you have experienced it.
And it wasn't anything that I ever really saw, in my life, and the fact, and I had so many reservations in the beginning. We watched videos for years, talked about it, and the fact that I go from a house to apartment to the van, and now a smaller rig, it's amazing. Like, and it is the mental part of it too, just letting go of the things that hinder you from doing it, or the things that you think you might need. There's a freedom in it that is, it's more than just changing locations. It's like mentally, spiritually, physically. It's just like if you're on the fence about it and not sure, like take it step by step, or try to do it part time, or do it like if you can. It's not everybody, different phases of your life, it's more difficult, but it's if there's an opportunity and you're not sure, I would say go for it, because I feel like if I can do it, like anybody can, you know?
Sure. Absolutely. Now, I'm sure as well, you people who are watching, you've probably got 1,000 questions about things we haven't covered, of maybe reasons why we're changing the vehicles and why we sold the van, and things just about living life on the road of a vehicle, whether it is a truck or an overlanding vehicle like we're going into, or whether it was the van. Questions you have there, by all means, throw them in the comments, and we can certainly talk about them in the future. And not only as we're building out the new truck and answer those questions as a comparison model, but also just have another time to discuss, I guess, our feedback on this as well, of things we haven't covered in this.
Do you think there's anything negative that you want to say? Like, I mean, we did fine living in a small space together. We're, pretty cohesive. Because I work, we do gyms.
She hasn't killed me yet. I'm sorry.
Do the gym different times. We work after. I mean, we pretty much enjoy each other's company. So part of it, hasn't been, because I'm sure people wonder about that, or if you have questions about that, of our relationship. And that's another thing. I'm sorry, I keep checking it. There's a lot of people here at the park. I want to make sure Sophie's not wandering off, but, and you're doing, you know, he's digging holes for me sometimes in the forest to use to go to the bathroom, and then I'm rushing out, like he's filling it up. Like there's certain like intimacy in toileting and dressing
Things
in
you
the
would never
shower.
expect as a couple.
You don't have a lot of privacy, you know, for certain things. You can't like leave the other room to pass gas or whatever it is. So, but it's been fine. Like we're not like
there's no secrets.
Yeah, you really get to know somebody. So I guess you have to think about that, the relationship that you have, or like, you know, if that's a barrier for you. I mean, I guess it could be, but you know, we have no shame in our game.
And if you think, like, I know I've spoken to a lot of people who say things like, "Oh, I can never do that," for a variety of reasons, and
I
that's
was that
fair enough.
person too.
And that's fair enough. Some people can make those adjustments, and some people are unwilling to do that, and that's fine. You know, you can live vicariously through us and our travels.
Keep watching. Share with all your friends.
And subscribe if you're not. But there are definite advantages in more than just the physical ways to the idea of downsizing and living simply. And we enjoy those aspects and those benefits from doing this as well.
100%.
So, yeah. But anyway, we have talked about a few different things here, but I'm sure there's lots more that you're curious about. Again, pop those questions down in the description or in the comments, and we will certainly try to address them at a future point.
Pretty soon we'll be showing you the
new build.
Yeah, exciting times.
But until then, thanks for watching. And again, please, we are trying to grow our base of subscribers. Please feel free to subscribe if you're not, and to share it with others who will. But until next time, we'll see you out there.
See you out there.